In my last video, I showed you how to get started with the .NET 8 on Visual Studio for Mac. And there was some strange things that you can see in that video. One of them was that the preview was not available for the preview version of Visual Studio. And the version number for the preview version was also lower than the released or stable version. Honestly, I have been afraid for that Microsoft will retire Visual Studio for Mac for a while. And if you have read the roadmap for Visual Studio for Mac, it has not been updated since February. And yesterday, the announcement came. Microsoft will retire Visual Studio for Mac. It will not get any more major updates. It will not get real support for .NET 8. But you will be able to continue to develop .NET 6 and .NET 7 apps for at least 12 months with support. Okay, but you can of course still use it for .NET 8 as you can do today, but they will not invest any more development in that. So I'm a bit sad. I like Visual Studio for Mac. It's a pretty good idea, even if it had some room for improvements, of course. So what is your options right now when you at least soon need to switch if you want to continue to work on Mac? Of course, you can use a virtual machine with Visual Studio for ARM. That works really good. I have one in parallels running both Visual Studio for ARM and Windows for ARM. And I will also say I'm on a M1 Mac, so I need the ARM versions. And I will say that the ARM version works better than the x86 ones. It's really fast. Actually, Windows works better on my M1 machine than it do on my other Windows machine. Okay, it's not a top-end Windows machine, but anyway, it works better on my Mac. So in this video, I will show you how to get started with the Visual Studio Code and what's the state of the .NET MAUI tooling in Visual Studio Code right now. The first thing you need to do is to go and install the .NET MAUI extension. And I recommend you to take the pre-release. As you can see here, you can have a release version and you can have a pre-release version. And here it also says preview, because the whole extension is in preview, but there are still different versions of the extension if you do the pre-release or the release version, as they call it. So it says pre-release of the pre-release. I tried the release version first and I had some trouble, so I installed the pre-release version instead. I guess my problem was in the C# toolkit because I had problem with the Solution Explorer. And C# toolkit is something that you need to have for the .NET MAUI extension. You can install it yourself first, or .NET MAUI extension will install it for you. To find it, you will of course just go and search for extension in the extensions tab here. And if you search for MAUI, you will of course find it. And then you press install and it will take a bit of time to install it. So you can go and grab a cup of coffee when you're waiting. So the other thing you need to do is that you need to log in to... So the other thing you need to do is to connect your development account, because you need a license to use this, or a subscription. But the Visual Studio Community subscription is good enough. So if you're allowed to use the Community Edition of Visual Studio, you can also use this. But for bigger companies, of course, you need a Visual Studio subscription, like Professional or Enterprise. So that means that the free IDE or code editor, maybe you should call it, Visual Studio Code will also not be fully free anymore. At least if you want to do C# or .NET MAUI development. So when you have installed this toolkit, we can go here to the Explorer. And now with the C# toolkit installed, we will have this button create .NET project. So let's do that. So here we got all the templates that we have. We have .NET MAUI app, we have .NET MAUI hybrid app, we have .NET MAUI class library, and of course all of the other installed .NET MAUI templates. And of course you need to install the workloads for MAUI. On this machine I have .NET 8, but it works also with .NET 7 and .NET 6 of course, but you need to install the workload. So select .NET MAUI app, and now we will create a new folder called demo VSCode and press create. Just like that. Now they want us to give app a name, so yes, we call MAUI app 2 because it's the second time I try Visual Studio Code. And now we have the Explorer here. Yes, we trust the authors. And if we minimize this, we have the Solution Explorer down here. And it seems like it takes a few seconds to load the first time, but here we have it. We have the MAUI program, we have app shell, we have main page, as we have in all .NET MAUI apps. So now we maybe want to edit this main page. And as you can see here, this is SAML. And I would say that the SAML experience here is maybe not the best. You will not get any IntelliSense here for vertical options, for example. And you will not have any hot reload either. But that is something that they hopefully will work on. So if we want to run this, we will go here, down here, and click this curly braces. And here we can say the debug target. So debug target can be my Mac, it can be an Android emulator, it can be an iPhone simulator. So we select an iPhone simulator, then we go here and press run and debug. And now with the new .NET MAUI app, it will take a while to build it the first time, but the second time you will do this, it will be faster. So here we have the iOS simulator and we have our .NET MAUI app. So just to show you that debugging is working, we go back to the Solution Explorer, we open the code behind here, and we set a breakpoint here on counter clicked. And then we go back to the app and we press click me. Yeah, and now we can debug. We can expect the parameters, we can step, of course, we can see the value of variables, yeah, and everything that you expect when you're debugging an app. And that works with Visual Studio Code right now. So this was how to get started using Visual Studio Code on Mac and for .NET MAUI development. Remember, this is a pre-release version. Both the release version and the pre-release is not stable yet, but as I have understand, they're working hard to get things better. So if you find something, I really recommend you to go and report that to Microsoft. And one thing that I have not mentioned yet, another option for you as a .NET MAUI developer on Mac is of course to go to JetBrains Rider, a very popular IDE. I've tried it a bit and it's pretty good. When I've used it before, I mostly use it with other .NET development. But I will give it a new chance with the .NET MAUI and I will try to get used to it, because everything new is something that you need to get used to for a while before you are comfortable to use it. But thank you very much for watching this video. Please press the like button and subscribe to my channel and write a comment about what you think about the retirement of Visual Studio for Mac.